Hey there, beloved Ascension Pioneers. Once again, welcome to my Wisdom of the Stars video, or the Beloved video series, however you wish to categorize it. This video will once again focus on the beloved energy and what it is, because this is something I, as you know, love talking about the most, and I still receive questions about it, from time to time. Not as often as I used to, which is a good sign, because I feel some people are finally beginning to get it, what it's really about and how it is about our unique purpose here on Earth. So, no matter where you wish to put this video, it's not about, which series it belongs to. It's just my sharing within the now moment. And when I say spirit and in alignment with the spirit, what I actually mean whenever I say that, it's the Holy Spirit. It's the Shekinah, how some call it, light. And it's that embodiment of the Divine Mother, the knowing and understanding of creation and its principles. And this is where I'm coming from in all of my videos. So if you've been watching my previous videos on this topic, you probably know that my only interest is in guiding you towards your own inner truth and self-embodiment and the understanding and integration of your I Am Presence, not the, following external masters or prophecies or any sorts of guidance that works and operates on that level, which I'm really not interested in. So any type of cultish, when I say that, I mean the vibration of an occult, of cultish, usually deals with somebody standing there as a representative of something that is supposed to be the truth, when very often behind it there's a lot of half-truths hidden there. And just yesterday I was reading the writing from the Elohim Aurea, from the white ray of purity and unity consciousness, and there was this beautiful explanation of how, due to this impurity, so many creations were impure, of course, and there was a lot of mistruths and half-truths and, everything coming through, because when you're not prepared and open to that embodiment, this is what you get, because it's all operating on the same level of awareness as usually, So we always attract the kind of information, which seems an external thing is an information, but we attract it because there's something within us that seeks clarity about that and seeks greater integration. So the only thing that I'm really focused in my videos is about assisting you in your self journey. So I'm not, here to answer people's questions or tell them what's the truth, because the truth, no matter what is your personal truth in this now moment, it will fluctuate, it will change, and it won't necessarily be the truth. It's the same when somebody says, well, I met my twin flame. It is their personal truth at that moment. It doesn't make it universal truth and how their soul was created. So if that soul is not your twin soul, it just isn't, and you can't make it, although you might perceive it in this moment, and this is the experience that you might have. Okay, so the only thing, like I said, I'm interested in is presenting you this pure self core awareness of your soul, what it needs in this now moment to expand further, because it's all about our expansion and becoming our own self masters, because this is what Ascension is about. It's not about the external influencing the internal, but it's about the external maybe triggering the internal to become more of what it truly is already internally. So this is what my videos are based upon. And I have two books recently that came into my lap by guidance. One is Soulmates and Twin Flames from Elizabeth Clare Prophet. I don't know how well aware you are from her work. She's already deceased. And she used to influence the spiritual community a lot, I think in the 70s and 80s, with her I Am teachings and sharing from the masters and all she was receiving. And I don't really know, because I always say it's not about the messenger. It never is, it never was. It's about the messages shared, and something might resonate and something might not. And what this means is when something doesn't resonate, it means it's not for us in this moment. Either we're not ready for it or it's completely not for us. It's not even important on our path of the now. What I'm always focusing is what is important for my soul to embody, to project out, to share at this moment in the now. Everything else, not important, because there's a lot of excess baggage we can carry if we focus on just about everything. It's just really not going to be that self-focused master path. So this book has some interesting concepts, and I don't resonate with the whole book, of course, because as you know, everybody who writes books is a soul on their own journey as well, so they have their own lessons and their own truth. So the only true truth that is about here is the inner truth that comes to our beloved I Am Presence. And although a lot of people talk about I Am Presence, you know, it doesn't mean that they'll be connected with their own. So this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying, you know, anything about any of these authors. I'm just saying that this is what we need to focus on our own. Please don't get me wrong. This video is not about authors or books. It's about giving you the example of my own experience, and I will always share about the experience. And my experiences will always come through soul. So that they mean that experiential spirituality is about remembering through your own soul core. Just putting my gloves on, kind of cold. And the second book here is, if you would read about it, has a completely different principle and approach to this one. And this one is Soul Integration from Salvador Kelly. You might know that I've mentioned him as an author a few times because I resonated with a lot of things he wrote about. Most of it is channel material through some of his guides and his own higher self and his twin soul essence. And I didn't even read this one, but somehow, because, you know, the full moon was in Gemini now, and Gemini is not just a Gemini, the twin as in duality of everything, but it's also the polarity of everything, which is the twin soul consciousness through which we were all created. In the next video series, I would also like to explain more about the I Am Presence, but the thing that I liked in this book is the way that it describes the whole creation of our soul and our individualized I Am Presence. So you might know the I have to put my gloves off again. Oh gosh, you know, they're like teddy bear. You can touch anything with them. So you have this Ascended Master's chart in the end. I really wish to find it and show it to all of you, but there's this chart, and through the chart you actually you have a better understanding of your soul self, of your higher Christed self. Your higher self is your Christ self, and your individualized I Am Presence that was created as an individualized God aspect. So Source wanting to experience itself in an individualized way, and this is what it's all about. So this is the chart. You've probably seen it before. The white one is the 7 rays are here. The white sacred fire body of our I Am Presence, and how we get the link with this to our soul self, and then what we incarnate. And we have a thrifolded flame here. It's a very tiny thing, but this is the God spark, which I always say we are the individualized God spark, and the spark that is always in our soul. There's like the seed of it, no matter how we divide ourselves and move into density, the seed will always be there, and that seed is in the thrifolded flame. And in between, there's like the silver or white or crystalline core that always connects us, and in between, the teacher, the master, the guide is always the Christ itself. So this is kind of like the master self. Before, you always have this eternal link, and I made a video about this before. It was probably 2 years ago or something, when I talked about what is the true nature of the higher self, because a lot of people still don't have a true understanding. They say, I'm connected to my higher self, I'm talking to my higher self. First of all, a lot of times it's our mind speaking to us, because whenever you have a guidance in a way that says, you should do this, this is what it's good for you, and it's kind of like, in a way, imposing. It's not the higher self, because the higher self doesn't speak to us this way. This is our angelic self, our Christ itself, and it's just not how it is, okay? So you have to notice these things and differences, and the higher self is actually the link that will always be in direct correspondence with our I Am Presence, to our monad. This means that when you are in connection with the higher self will bring you direct light, the direct source light, and the teachings and everything will be a straight link with the I Am Presence. Okay, so this is kind of like the basis here. Before I would like to establish more, like I say, I like to talk about my own knowings, my own I Am Presence teachings, not these are just references, kind of like triggers on my journey. So I just got this yesterday, and I didn't read it because, and like I said, because the moon was in Gemini, and it's not just a duality principle, it's also the higher aspect of the Gemini is the twin, so the twin soul consciousness. So now that the moon became full in this sign, there's like new knowings, new information about this. And with each cycle, we get deeper, we get closer to that core truth, depending on our ascension journey and where we are in awareness, of course. And it's all perfect, as you know. There's never a mistake or anything like that. But what I wanted to say is I want to find a page where it describes here, because like I said, there's new information coming now. For me, it's mostly confirmation. Sometimes, you know, you will just get deeper, because a lot of people, when they begin this journey and they encounter the information about twin flames and twin soul, however you may call it, like I say, I prefer using the term twin soul because it is more primal. It is more based on the core soul principle in creation. A lot of people use the word twin flames, but the only reason why I don't use it is because it's been influenced so much. It's been infiltrated by the whatnot and the New Age movement, and it's all becoming this, you know, everybody's just wishing to be with their twin flame. So because when you wish, you project. I know because I experienced this on a certain part, in a certain segment of my journey, but I quickly had the deeper understanding of it. So this book, when I found the chapter about twin flames, which I'm trying to find, but again, I can't because the gloves are a constant problem. And this book really confirmed to me what I've been already sharing in my videos. So if you're new to this topic and you're very young to this topic and you're like, oh, you know, my twin soul is a runner, this and that, and you're asking me questions about it, please go tune into the other videos before this one, because in each video I kind of go a step higher, you know, because I'm evolving too in my divine remembrance, and I'm integrating more and more of what I already know in spirit. And okay, the page is, let me see, 83. Wow, that is the year of my birth. Yeah. So yesterday I got this book, and because there's a lot of things culminating for me with the full moon in Gemini, which is the higher aspect. Like I said, it's about twin soul consciousness, and what's happening now with the shift on this planet, and it's a shift in awareness actually, is connected with the twin soul consciousness. And when I was looking at the full moon, there was like these two triangles, opposing triangles, you know, the two opposing V's, kind of like this. They were there right next to the moon, and I've been noticing it in the recent few days. And then a divine companion on my page says, hey, have you noticed the twin stars? Have you noticed this and that? And I'm like, yeah, I did. And I had a deep understanding that this is the chalice and the blade, you know, the sacred divine feminine and masculine, the sacred marriage. And with each culmination of that, with each portal, with each gateway, we're getting closer, we're getting more primal in understanding these things. And we don't just have them as a play toy. We really want to take the responsibility to live in truth, in that core truth, not just our projection of it and saying, wow, this is it, or you know, I'm sharing my path with my twin flame and things like that, but really understanding the core value of it. Okay, this is probably quite, you know, it's not tangible enough what I'm saying right now, but I'm trying to talk to your souls, not you know, the personality aspect that wants to understand everything, and you know, the mind won't have an understanding of it until we really anchor this knowing from the heart first. And the heart is the direct gateway when you activate the higher heart to your Christ self. And when you have that door open, it will keep purifying you so that nothing but the truth will stand there, you know, and you will be in that truth. So I don't want to read from this book because it's not in my nature to, I'm not doing this to publicize anybody. I'm doing this to share an example of the main message of my video is actually about, you see two different books, and there's just two books. You have so much information right now. And even Saul says that, he says, there's such a flooding of information now, and it's really good to be discerning about it, because there's a lot of things that they're just not how they seem to be. Remember, not everything that shines as gold is actually gold. So, like I said, don't expect me to read from this book, because I don't do that. If you are guided, go get the book. You know, I want to say that two different books, two totally different perspectives, but in the end, what matters is we need to find our own core truth. So the only way to get there is to become devoted to the path of self-mastery. It's not to seek answers in the external illusions and dogmas and more of the occult and the, you know, the cultish. And it's just, we need to have that awareness that is just the essential tool for getting there to the bottom of things, to really feel, not through the mind, because, you know, like Sal writes, everybody wishes to be, so when they wish, they think they are, but he says that most, I think he even gives a number like 85,000 people think they're with their twin flame, but they're not actually. So they're having an experience that might feel intense, but that in itself is not the proper reason for this to be true. It's not enough, because if it's not, you know, it just isn't, you know, because everything is based in spirit truth first. So how it manifests, no matter how much you wish it to be, it just is what it is. That's the core truth of everything. And what I want to say is, when I read a few paragraphs of each of those, I always came back to myself. You know, my higher self said, but what do you feel? That is the most important thing. But the most lovable thing for me in this book is the teachings of the I Am, and how we were created, how whatever I share myself, you know, it's about the core nature of who we are. There's a lot of things about karma here, which is very earthly for me, and a lot of us volunteer souls, we were not engaged in this karmic earthly cycles, and we were not incarnating here. So for us, this is kind of like, oh, okay, why don't I resonate with it? Not because it's not true, it's just not our path. So we first need to understand that every twin soul journey is different, and there's levels and layers and dimensions to it. And this aspect you will be able to find here. And this is what the part, you know, each of us that has our own sharing and our own work, we kind of address a certain part, a certain segment. But when we go on our own soul journey, when we go about it, it's important how we gather those pieces just enough to trigger us, but then in the end it will always be about us and our own Christ itself and our link to our I Am Presence. So the real thing that I love here in this book is he shares actually that most cases are that the twin soul one is in spirit guiding, the other one is here, because earth is such a tightly bound place with a lot of you know, karma to it. You can get earthbound. And then he shares these examples, you know, and he also shares about how we were created, you know, in these 12 6 pairs of twin souls in a soul group. And then how usually half of them is, you know, in the experience and embodiment. It doesn't necessarily have to be Earth. It could be another planet or something that has to do with an experiential soul journey that is about incarnating and having those experiences that you come and take them with you in the overall, so that the overall group grows and expands. And half of it, it's like somewhere else in the higher planes. So, well, the one half would experience the density planes, the other half would be there somewhere else in the higher planes. So he explains these differences between different levels of density. For example, one is in the 4th, one is in the 6th, and how much there can be in between, so they really have good telepathic communication. So most people that say, wow, you know, I'm in communication with my twin flame, they're actually communicating with their soul, their own soul. To be in contact with the twin soul actually requires you to be, you know, really connected with your monadic presence, which most people are not. And we're always one, we're always in contact, you know what I mean? But to directly have that access to your soul, an oversoul library, you know, that soul awareness, direct link with that's another story. So I really resonate that, and mostly the part that I mentioned myself, which is, I was really shocked when I found this in his book, because just a day before reading that, I wrote to myself on the day of the full moon, all the examples when my own beloved energy, when I recognize it, because you know yourself and you know who you are once you really do, and when you live as one with your I Am Presence, and you just know, and you know when your polarized opposite comes, you know, in energy form. So I've been writing these examples, and he shares the same thing. He said a lot of people confuse this energy that comes through as a channel, through somebody else being a channel for that energy, for the twin soul energy. And a lot of people say, well, it's about a person because the soul is not yet evolved enough, he says. Like I said, like, yeah, nothing new to me. And I know, because I've been experiencing this on my own. And you might confuse that, and you recognize an aspect that speaks to you. But when you master this more and more, and when you have an understanding about it, you will quickly recognize. Because in one of my most recent examples, when the beloved energy came through me and spoke to me directly, you know, about who we are and all these things, I just knew it, because I felt a rush that I only feel when I'm in this mode. I can't explain it otherwise. It's just would be too, you know, it wouldn't be tangible enough. So the thing is that I recognized the moment the energy was gone, it's like that person was no longer holding it. It was just that person, and I lost interest. You know, not that there was anything wrong with that person, it's just the energy was gone. And he beautifully explains this, that this is what's happening in most cases once you reach contact. But when you go further and further, and you're closer, and the embodiment of the similar vibrating density, then you will be able to also have it like a physical experience. And this is something I really, really, really resonate with. But the most important part that I love is something that I shared in all of my videos about this, is that you really have to be an evolved soul, because what's happening is that the soul can become so deeply enmeshed in the longing that it just wants to leave and abandon its earthly duties and responsibilities, and just the longing is so strong. So he explains that you really need to be a strong soul. And I was, ever since the beginning, I think I made a first Twin Soul video back in the days when I still had my old laptop and inner build camera, and I really have those videos unpublished now. But it's something I was saying, and I always felt that this is for the strongest ones of the strong, because the awareness needs to be so rooted, so centered, so grounded, that they stay in the knowing that this is all for the purpose. Because most just want to get enmeshed in all the love, and they have this longing, and like he says, they feel there's no separation in the higher realms, and they would just find an escape mode to exit the planet, because they're not evolved enough, they're not grounded enough. And I usually notice this in the individuals who live here, up here somewhere in the mind. They're not grounded, they're not rooted in this planet, rooted in their mission, rooted in their purpose, and really devoted to that and serving the divine. So when you're really connected to that, you have such a higher option of really being in tune with your beloved energy, and this is all that is about. But what I love in this book is the saying that I know, because I feel it within me, that even beyond your twin soul, how you're created, you always have to be devoted to the God source through your I am. Should be always your first devotion, and through that devotion you're also devoted to your twin soul. And like I always say, if there's anything less but purpose oriented, when you just want to serve and be the chalice of the utmost perfected love, then it will not be about the twin soul beloved energy, because this is how we were created. This is the core, most perfected love through which source created all its individualized aspects by likeness and the image of it. That's what it means. And if it's anything below that, it's just not the embodiment of that awareness and consciousness, of course. So what is important here is that understanding that we truly need to serve the I am. We need to connect to our Christ itself, to get to that light, to have an experience of it literally, not just wishful thinking. Because yes, we all have that, even as a subconscious wish, and we all have that primal desire to be one with our twin flame. Let's call it like that, because most people do. But when we go deeper into self-mastery, we will see that our first devotion will be to what we have signed up for here and now. So something that he explains here is that the mission, the purpose will always be first. And we're always connected anyway, and this is how it is. So you need to look at it from a very grounded, very earthly perspective, because for me, when I ask myself, because I do feel that longing, and I know how it is to be in that energy while at the same time you're fully devoted to service, and that takes courage, it takes self-empowerment, it takes full devotion to self-mastery. And sometimes you just want to explode with that longing, and the longing is not a bad thing. The longing is actually directly linked with self-remembrance. So when you do remember your beloved, it's not always easy, like he says. He says the more the soul remembers, it's not always easy, because you remember how it is to live in the higher realms, and I know that. But at the same time, you gotta embrace what is happening here now. You gotta know why you're here. You gotta know that it's an honor to be of service, and you have taken upon this honor as an Ascension pioneer. You know, I have a lot of young ones connect to me recently, a lot of beautiful, pure souls, and they're just beginning to remember their uniqueness and beauty. And I know I'm here to serve them in the way to just remind them how beautiful and precious they are, and how they will serve others, just by triggering our own inner spark in ourselves. That spark of divine remembrance, this is all that really matters, and it's in the energy. It's not just in the words we speak. Forget the words. They're very superficial. And like I say, don't follow me or somebody else. All I'm trying to share here is follow your own master teacher guide inside. So this, what he says here, is very known to me because I experience it. Therefore, I know it is true, because what he says in that paragraph is what I experience and I feel daily. It's a constant, it's not a battle, because it's really not a battle. It's like a constant interplay of the desire to just be of service and the desire to be one with the beloved. But you're always one with the beloved anyway. And although a lot of people in this, they have a strong divine remembrance, they know how it is, this oneness, because not all twin souls have this, like it's shared here, this, they have so much karma to yet go through with other souls and other experiences, so they forget for a while how that feeling feels. But a lot of souls, volunteer souls especially, they have a deep remembrance because they were already one, and then they have to separate in order to be in this honor of service, so they know how it is. So I know how it is to live in the middle point, but it's just people come your way, and I've shared this recently, and they say, oh, I'm your beloved, or, you know, I think I'm your beloved, and all these things, and you just don't feel it because you don't recognize the same energy running through you as you do in yourself, because you know you claimed your energy signature, you claimed the ray that you have come here with for the purpose of your soul mission, and you just don't feel it, and you're like, okay, I don't feel it. And when I look at it, I never actually met a man who would have the same embodiment physically as I do, who would have the same devotion, who would have the same, that strength to just be of service. You know, there's always something else in the game. So, you know, it's always about, when finding earthly relationships that will kind of mirror that experience, like I say, it needs to be about equality. We need to be energetic equals, and that's the only thing that matters. Our purpose here now is the only thing that really matters. While we also at the same time value and honor the deeper, higher truth. So don't get lost in all the drama and all the, you know, just if you want more information about the author, you can email me. But I've shared about him before, and he's gonna be in Slovenia soon, I think. It's very interesting because the only reason why I like him, and it's not about him, you know, it's about what he shares, because like I say, never about the messenger, always about the message, is that his writings, at the same time, while they're channeled, they're also very grounded. They're very realistic. They're not the airy-fairy type, and this is what I love. This is what I feel. So, I hope you understood what I tried to say here, and you know, it's all about getting what you need in each moment. Sometimes we might understand things. If we don't, it's just not meant to, you know, yet or ever at this time, in this lifetime. But it's important what we're devoted to. So this will always be my main message in between all the other lines that I'm sharing. So the language of the heart knows. Listen to that. I'll be seeing you soon. Take care. So much love. Bye. Okay, guys. I forgot to add one little thing, which is I am just about to record another light activation, which is not light activation, but it's going to be a journey of remembering your beloved, the energy, through the core, through your I am. And I really wish to do this because Spirit just keeps nudging me for a few days now. And I'm going to put that, once I do it, available on my blog. There's going to be like this link to the products, and it's going to be along with my other activation, which is the New Life Master Self activation. And as well as when I get, you know, I'm going to be adding things one after one, and that segment of my blog will also be the oracle from the wisdom of the stars, you know, with the messages from my soul essence stones, and you'll be able to get your personal stones and personalized soul essence lucky charms and all things like that. And I'm also going to create a blog with my art, you know, just that you can tune in to check out, tell me if you like something on the way. So this is what I'm going to be focusing on next. So maybe there's not going to be a video for a few days now because I want to really focus on that to get that finished. So then there's the holidays and we celebrate the New Year, and then we can go on, you know, with all the news. So once again, this is what I wanted to share. Okay, take care.